Joe's Old Tech. Yesterday's tech of tomorrow. Today.
Today we are looking at the Panasonic HC-V10, but not as a review of the camera because it doesn't work. I got this on eBay pretty cheap as a faulty camera. Sometimes it's worth taking a chance with these. I got a JVC HD camcorder, which they said they didn't have a charger for, so they sold it as, faulty or whatever. And I had charged up a battery for it. I had another battery, plugged it in, and it worked fine. So I thought I would take a chance with this Panasonic HC-V10. Got a great zoom, 70 times enhanced optical zoom, but the enhanced part is that it uses the rest of the chip. And this is the HD one, 720p. I've got a couple of the standard definition camcorders, and they've got 78 times zoom. So I thought a HD one, 720 HD with 70 times would be something worth getting, especially if you can get it cheap, like I did, even though it's meant to be faulty, and see if I can fix it. Now the fault is, I've got a battery here. When you plug the battery in and turn it on, this is what happens. Okay, the light goes on and flashes, and then nothing happens. So there's obviously something going wrong between the power source and the camera. Now, I have to say, I don't know a lot about electronics, but I'm hoping that it might be something that's obvious. Fingers crossed it'll be something that's obvious, and then I'll be able to fix it, but of course I might not be able to. It came with its box and instructions, and the USB extension lead, but I'm slightly intrigued by something. There's this, you can see this little door there. Now, I've no idea what that's for, and I can't find any information on the internet about it, what it's for. I've looked inside the instruction booklet, and here on page 11 it shows the door there, but it doesn't say what it is. 21 is pointing to the battery holder, but there's obviously showing the door there, but it doesn't say what it's for. So let's have a look. Now, I have my little box of tricks here. This is the box I keep my stuff in when I'm doing repairs or anything to do with cameras. It's very handy. It's got loads of bits and bobs in here. A lens cleaner with these are very handy. Always get one of these if you've got camcorders. I highly recommend getting one of these because you can clean the lens. What you do is open the lens. You can clean it with the brush, and squeezing it with your finger over there, it just blows air into it as well, so it gets rid of any dust, any grime, and you're not going to damage the lens because this is, very soft little brush. So yeah, if you've got camcorders or any cameras, get yourself one of these to clean the lens with. They're great. So I'm going to take the screws out of this and have a look inside and see if I can work out what's wrong. I've got several screwdrivers here, but I think I'll be using this one a lot. This, if we can see that mini Phillips screwdriver there, I'll be using that because these have, see if we can see, there's one there, tiny Phillips screwdriver, Phillips screws in them there. Now, also what I do, move the box out of the way, I always put what I'm repairing or fixing or adapting or whatever, I always put it on a little white cloth here, little dust cloth, just so you can see any bits you take out, you can see them clearly. I always put when I take the screws out, I always put them in these little things. These are little medicine takers, little medicine measuring cups there, little milliliter gauge on there. But yeah, I use these to put the screws in so you don't lose them, because it's easy with screws as tiny as the ones you get in these camcorders, they're easily lost. So as I take them out, I'll be putting them in these. so I know where they are and keep them safe. I try and keep them in some sort of order as well, if I can remember, but which order I took them out in. But normally with these kind of cameras and these kind of screws, they're the same length of screw, so it doesn't really matter what order they come out or go in. So, right, let's start, I suppose. Well, I might as well start with this one at the back, which I showed you in the first place. So let's take that out, and off we go. These can be quite, there we go. Always handy if your screwdriver is magnetized, so you don't, so it's easier to take the screws out and you don't lose them. Okay, so obviously well magnetized, it's quite hard to get off. There we go. So that's screw number one. Let's take these bottom ones off, I think. Now, as I say, I'm not an electrician or an expert in electronics. I wouldn't know a capacitor from a, well, I was going to say microchip, but I wouldn't know that. Well, I might not know what a capacitor is. Now this screw looks slightly bigger than the others. Why is that? Is that slightly bigger? Or is that just an optical illusion? We'll take it out and have a look. But I'm hoping it'll be something that's quite apparent to see. That seems slightly bigger than the others. Is that slightly bigger? Oh well, maybe not. But anyway. So yeah, this could have been a waste of, I think this cost me about £10 off eBay, but sometimes it's worth, because I've been wanting one of these cameras for a long time anyway, just because it is, just because it's got a great zoom. I've got a couple, like I say, I've got a couple of the standard definition ones with like 78 times zoom, but I just wondered what these HD ones would be like. Handy little, I mean, they're quite handy little camcorders to have, especially with that kind of zoom on. And me being a camcorder addict, I'm always finding camcorders that I want to get hold of. Right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to open up this little mystery door and see what's in it. It could just be a screw behind it or something else. I don't know. Let's have a look. Right, well, it comes off completely, and there's a screw in there. Don't know what that is, but it's obviously the back of the circuits or something in there. But why would, if anyone knows why this has this removable door and what this is and what's the purpose of that, please let me know in the comments below, because I've got absolutely no idea. Anyway, I'll put that in its own little cup there so I don't lose it. Is there any more screws on the back there? Right, these seem to be the main screws on this side, which I'll take out. This is a handy little screwdriver set. Again, I got this off eBay. I always like these ones with these swivel tops, because if you've got it against your palm and you're unscrewing something, it just swivels really easy. Oh, that screw did come out, I didn't notice that. So yeah, these are good. Good grips on them as well. Another screw there. So I mean, this might just completely fall apart, or I might take the last screw out and a massive spring might pop out, and then that'll be it. But you never know, it might be something that's easy to fix, or I may have bought a dud. That's probably more likely. Unfortunately, this wasn't one of those times where you just, because you do wonder, don't you, when you see stuff on eBay and say, oh, you know, I don't have a charger, or I'm unable to test this further, you do think, really? You don't know how serious to take that. I mean, how hard is it to charge a battery? I mean, if you don't, all this takes to charge it, if you want to charge it within the camcorder itself, is to just have a mini USB, and who doesn't have one of those? So Yes, I'm a bit suspicious, but we shall see. That's all the screws out of there. That's the HDMI output there. So I suppose I should try and see if I can undo it. I've got some of these. These again, I've got quite a nice little setup here of different tools and utensils for opening camcorders or anything electrical. Because obviously you don't want to be, when you've got something that's plastic, you don't really want to be jamming screwdrivers in because that's going to damage it. And so it's good to get these little things. This is just something for levering things up. There's one that looks a bit like a guitar pick there for the same job. So, but, oh, there we go. That's coming off anyway. Let's have a look. Now, light's coming in from this side, as you can see, which might be... Can this come off? Oh, there we go. Right, okay, well there's nothing... No connectors there or anything. Obviously, I wasn't very careful taking it off, and you should be careful when you're taking these bits off, because sometimes you get bits like this little... I always forget what these things are called, but that's a ribbon. It's got electrical wires in there. But anyway, yes, so I'm probably going to have to take that screw off there, but I don't really want to take it completely apart, but maybe I'll have to. Will this come off? Yes, this might be one of those, might be on a loser here. Because I don't really want to take it completely apart, because it might be a pain to get back together, or I might end up, I had a Sony, was it DCR something 54, an old Sony SD camcorder, which the LCD screen ribbon was broken on. So I bought a replacement one and took it apart, and that was a bit of a nightmare. There's several sort of tutorials on YouTube about how to fix the ribbons on your cameras. I don't really want to take this off, I might have to. And unfortunately I broke the replacement ribbon I bought when I was trying to fix it, and it was a real pain, it was a real hassle. It was really involved. You literally, like this, had to take the whole camera apart just to get at the LCD screen to replace the ribbon, which went from inside the camera into the screen section. But I suppose really you shouldn't do this kind of thing unless you really know what you're doing. And unfortunately, I don't really know what I'm doing. But sometimes you can follow YouTube guides, YouTube how-to videos on stuff like this, but this is looking, oh dear, this is looking more involved than I thought or hoped it might have been. So let's have a look. Maybe I've missed a screw somewhere, but sometimes, you know, just taking things apart and putting them back together can make them work, he said, hopefully. We shall see. All right, in this state, let's try the battery in again. See, that's what happens. The red light goes on, and then nothing. So I think I'm on a loser here. But that's the gamble you take when you buy one of these, isn't it? Say I don't really want to take this whole thing apart, but maybe there's screws under these rubber bits. Sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't, but it doesn't seem to be. Oh, I'm a little bit stuck here, because it seems like I'm going to have to take this whole bit off, and I don't really want to. Ah, hello. What's going on here? Okay. Right. So it seems this back bit wants to come off. Ah, Mr. Screw, mate. You might have spotted that before me. You probably did. That one there. Let's take that off. Apologies for the, there we go, for the lighting here. The sun's coming in quite low. This is the brightest room in the house, so, come on, alright, just take that out. Right. Okay, what's going to happen here? Because there probably is a problem here between with all things like this, you don't want to force it. I don't want to force. Let's have a look inside there. I don't want to force this off because. Alright, okay, I can see. Because you don't want to break. I don't want to break the circuit board that's behind there. Oh, just bent that. I think this is all. It's all very cleverly connected. I might have to. There's a screw on here. I might have to take out on the screen section there. Let's give that a go. A lot of this wants to. Maybe I'll take that off with this. I bet there's people who know what they're doing watching this going, no, don't do that, what are you doing? Now, of course, I've got to be careful here because, as I say, these ribbons are quite fragile, so I don't really want to take the lens section off. There's no reason to, really. This is the main section I want to get to because that's where the problem is, but it's all linked together, so I don't know what I'm going to do, really. I might have to be brave or reckless or stupid and just prise it off. Perhaps I should have looked on YouTube for if anyone else has done a teardown of one of these camcorders to see how they did it. But again, you see, there's all the. You can see in there, but I don't want to totally break it. But at the same time, it's not working anyway, so I wouldn't be losing anything. But now you see in there, just notice in there, that connects into there. Ah, maybe that's what that is. Could that have been the problem? I don't know. There's connectors and wires and all sorts of things there, but the main connectors between this back piece where the battery goes and the camcorder seems to be that sort of white connector there, and then the other side of it there, and then down the bottom, probably can't see that here, but there's can't make the right pigs here with this, isn't there? There's a connector in there with some red and black wires on. So I don't know what to do. Maybe it could be that connector was just not, that white connector there going in there. Maybe that was just not properly. Ah, Maybe that's right. Okay, right. Well, it's in now. Let's try the battery again.